Hey everybody, it's Master Gallengeist here, bringing you my review of the anime Cells at Work on Netflix. And this anime's okay. Um, it's not anything special. It's more kind of an episodic kind of anime. I mean, granted, relationships do build, but it usually just kind of focuses on certain things it's pretty much trying to teach you about, like what's going on in the body. Because the main premise is just going inside of a body, kind of similar to Osmosis Jones, and showing you the inner workings and how cells and everything work. And on that alone, of the premise and like teaching you information about what's going on, it really works. Now, granted, because it's kind of more episodic in nature, character depth kind of only just you can't really do much because they kind of have to do their job functions. So you're not really gonna have a red blood cell kind of like partying in the brain, doing some weird shit, and not delivering oxygen or carbon dioxide. So they have to continue their own kind of stuff going forward and doing their jobs. And uh, granted, I usually like to have kind of like a plot line. I don't mind if there's like detours or whatnot, like an episode or two that goes and does something else to kind of flesh out the world. But with this one, it's just like, okay, we just kind of are shown different kind of technical, well, not different kind of technical aspects. I mean, that's part of it, but it mainly focuses on delivering that kind of information and still trying to entertain you. But it more focuses on like the delivery because you kind of need to know what's going on so that way you can be entertained. Like seeing cells being confused by like cancer cells or influenza cells or whatnot, where the influenza cells are kind of like zombies or whatnot. It's interesting, but it just didn't. I didn't have like any characters that really grabbed my attention outside of the epitomous red blood cell that we see and the white blood cell. I like their whole kind of relationship and everything. It's just like, okay, so we're seeing this kind of bacteria and what it can do and what the defense mechanism is, and just kind of goes through them. Like the platelets, they're cute, but they were really not given much on more except for like the red blood cell kind of is like, oh, it's so cute and everything, and that's about it. Now, granted, I do like that it shows all these different kind of aspects, and it isn't too jargon heavy. It uses the technical terms, but it's not like, oh, you take the crankshaft and you put it in the universal joint, and then you take a giant gob of like, I don't know, 3C2456. Huh? You kind of had me, and then you lost me. It's like, it doesn't get lost in the weeds and be like, okay, you need to use HTML plus a Java up to a maybe C++, and then just rah, code in an artificial AI. Huh? It uses the technical aspects, explains kind of what they are doing and kind of what their job is and what's kind of going on relationship wise with what's happening. So for that aspect, I really liked it, but I didn't really get sucked in too much with it, and especially with the action. It's not horrible, mind you, but it's very kind of basic. We just usually see kind of the white blood cells and other kind of cells using their basic kind of weaponry, but that's mainly because that's usually what they're used for. Like there's this one specific kind of immune cell that had to fight a parasite, and she had specific kind of weaponry that was effective against it. But with other things, she was kind of weaker against them because she has more of a specialized purpose, whereas the white blood cell came in and would like kick his ass. Granted, I did enjoy my time with this, but I really didn't latch on to any characters, and it really just didn't get me into the territory of like, ooh, I really liked it. I'd really watch it again or whatnot. And the only thing that really caught my attention was like the opening song, and I really liked it. And it was really kind of strange because the first couple episodes, the opening was Japanese, and then for some reason it was able to shift into English at one point. I'm like, huh, don't usually see that happening in an anime. Usually they stick to one or the other, and it's really kind of rare to happen. I'm like, oh, now I know what they're saying. And I was like, yeah, okay. So if you really want to learn stuff and are into kind of like learning about the human body and everything, this would actually be a really good one. I would actually, granted, there is like blood and violence and everything, but this would be really kind of a good one to show to like older kids or teens to get them to understand what's going on in the body and get them to see if they're interested in learning about that kind of stuff. It's a really kind of good thing to like educate people upon like what's going on in the body. So for that, definitely recommend for that. But if you're really looking for like character depth and like really good action scenes, I would go. Okay, if you're doing like a rating system and you're like, I would be like a neutral on it. Like, okay, it's not horrendous, but there are better ones out there that I would recommend to you to go and see rather than this one, because the character stuff is just like, it's all right, it's not bad, but it's not in the territory where like I'm gonna remember this character for the rest of my life or remember him 5 months from now. Now, granted, I'd remember him because like, oh, they were pretty much just white blood cell and red blood cell, and it showed us all these different kind of things. One aspect I did like was how they differentiated on the red blood cells, because we get to the portion at the end where like a hemorrhaging effect happened and there had to be a blood transfusion, and you saw like, okay, this body has a certain blood cells that look like this and talk like this, and then they brought in other ones that were kind of like kind of like a Texan accent kind of thing or a Southern accent. I was like, oh, okay, that's kind of interesting. So again, this would be more of a background one unless you are like really getting into trying to figure out what's going on with like certain different kind of cells in your body. So if you need something on the background, this would work. But if you're really trying to absorb this stuff, you'd really have to be into it and see what's going on with the cells and everything. So those are my opinions on the anime. Tell me what you guys think in the comments below. If you liked it, if you didn't like it, if you agree with me, if you disagree with me. Also like and subscribe, and I hope you have a good day.